The Vraxian battlecruiser shuddered as plasma fire tore through its outer hull. Commander Zalith gripped the railing of the bridge, his 4 eyes narrowing at the tactical display. The war had raged for 6 cycles, and today's peace summit was supposed to end it. Instead, someone had fired on the diplomatic vessel. The Calthene ambassador ship hung dead in space, life support failing. Zalith's mandibles clicked in frustration. Without the ambassador, the treaty would collapse. Millions more would die. The humans had brokered this peace, and now it was falling apart before the first signature. A new signature appeared on a scanner. Small, fast, human design. The communications officer turned, her scales pale with fear. Commander, incoming vessel. It's requesting emergency docking clearance. They say they have Ambassador Torvak. Zalith's blood chilled. Impossible. Torvak's ship was destroyed 12 minutes ago. We saw the debris field. They're transmitting his personal code, sir. It's authentic. Before Zalith could respond, his weapons chief shouted. Sir, the Calthene fleet is breaking formation. They think we destroyed their ambassador. They're charging weapons. The view screen erupted with movement. 300 Calthene warships turned their prows toward the Vraxian lines. Zalith's own fleet scrambled to defensive positions. In seconds, the fragile peace would shatter into open warfare. Grant them docking clearance, Zalith ordered. And pray to the ancestors they're telling the truth. The human shuttle barely fit through the cruiser's docking bay. It touched down with a screech of metal, atmosphere rushing into the pressurized chamber. Zalith ran through the corridors, his security team struggling to keep pace. If the ambassador was alive, they had minutes to broadcast proof before the shooting started. The docking bay doors opened. Steam billowed out. Through the fog, Zalith saw a figure emerge. Ambassador Torvak, the elderly Calthene diplomat, limped forward. His ceremonial robes were scorched and torn, but he was alive. Behind him walked a human, female. Short by human standards, but her presence filled the bay. She wore simple black clothing, no armor, no visible weapons. Her eyes scanned the room with mechanical precision. Zalith had fought humans before. He recognized a predator when he saw one. Ambassador, Zalith breathed. How did you survive? Torvak's translator buzzed to life. Her. Lieutenant Claire Morgan. She pulled me from my command chair 30 seconds before the torpedo struck. Had an escape pod prepped. Got me out. Zalith stared at the human. You predicted the attack? Claire's expression didn't change. Saw the missile launch from the asteroid field at Sector 7. Calculated intercept time. Moved accordingly. That's impossible! Our sensors didn't detect anything until impact. Claire shrugged. Human eyes are different. The communication panel on the wall erupted with urgent messages. Commander! His officer's voice crackled. The Calthene are demanding proof of life. They're giving us 90 seconds before they open fire. Zalith gestured frantically to his team. Get him to the broadcasting chamber. Now. They moved quickly, but not quickly enough. As they rushed through the corridors, proximity alarms shrieked. The Calthene had launched their first volley. Hundreds of missiles streaked toward the Vraxian fleet. Zalith's people returned fire. The space between the fleets became a storm of destruction. The broadcasting chamber's doors sealed behind them. Torvak collapsed into a chair, exhausted. Zalith's communications officer worked frantically at the controls. I need 60 seconds to establish the link. An explosion rocked the ship. We don't have 60 seconds, Zalith shouted. Claire stepped forward. She pulled a small device from her pocket. Use this. It'll cut through their jamming and establish direct line to their command ship. Zalith took it hesitantly. What is it? Human military encryption breaker. Illegal in 42 systems. But it works. She was right. The connection established in 8 seconds. Torvak's image appeared on screens across both fleets. The ambassador raised his hand in the traditional Calthene gesture of peace. Stop this madness. I live. The peace holds. The missiles already launched couldn't be recalled. They continued their deadly trajectories toward both fleets. Zelith watched helplessly as thousands of warheads converged on his ships. His people scrambled for cover. Damage control teams stood ready. This would be a massacre. Claire moved to the weapons console. Her fingers danced across controls designed for three-fingered Vraxian hands. "What are you doing?" Zelith demanded. "Saving everyone!" Before he could stop her, she activated the ship's point defense grid. Not just their ship. She had somehow networked every Vraxian vessel's defensive systems through the human encryption device. Every railgun, every laser battery, every countermeasure in the fleet fired simultaneously. The coordination was perfect. Inhuman. Missiles exploded in cascading chains of light. The Vraxian fleet's defensive fire created a wall of destruction that nothing could penetrate. Not a single warhead reached its target. On the other side, the Kalthine fleet watched in stunned silence as their own point defenses activated. Claire had networked them too. Their missiles, now targeting their own launch ships, were torn apart by their own countermeasures. The shooting stopped. Both fleets hung in space, weapons charged, but no one dared fire. The silence stretched for long seconds. Torvak stared at Claire. "How did you do that?" "Linked both defensive networks through your ship's communication array. Used predictive algorithms to calculate optimal firing solutions." "Standard human combat doctrine." Zelith's mandibles trembled. "You prevented a war in 3 minutes." Claire's expression remained neutral. "Just doing my job, sir." The peace conference resumed 6 hours later. This time, no one objected to the human bodyguard standing behind Ambassador Torvak. The treaty was signed before the cycle's end. The war that had killed millions ended not with a final battle, but with a display of protection so overwhelming that both sides realized continued fighting was pointless. Zelith approached Claire as the delegates departed. "Your people. You're not like us, are you?" Claire considered the question. "No, Commander." "We're really not." She walked away, her boots echoing on the metal deck. Zelith watched her go, grateful that humans had chosen diplomacy over conquest, because if they ever changed their minds, the galaxy wouldn't stand a chance. The human shuttle departed an hour later. Ambassador Torvak returned to his homeworld a hero. The peace held. And across both the Vraxian and Kalthine territories, a new phrase entered common usage. When describing something impossible made possible, they said it was done in human time. 3 years passed before Zelith saw Claire Morgan again. By then, he commanded the joint Vraxian-Kalthine Defense Force. A new threat had emerged from the galactic core. The Seraph Dominion, a species that considered all other life inferior. They didn't negotiate. They simply conquered. Zelith stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the invasion fleet approach. 2,000 warships, each larger than anything the Alliance could build. His forces numbered 800 vessels. Good crews, good ships. But not enough. Not nearly enough. The communication console chimed. Zelith answered, expecting a surrender demand from the Zareth. Instead, he saw a familiar face. "Commander Zelith," Claire said. "Been a while." "Lieutenant Morgan." Relief flooded through him. "Thank the ancestors. We need help. The Seraph are going to overwhelm us." Claire's expression was calm. "I know. That's why I'm here." "How many ships did Earth send?" "Just mine." Zelith's heart sank. "1 ship against 2,000. Even human technology had limits. "Lieutenant, I appreciate the gesture, but 1 vessel cannot turn this tide." "Watch me." Claire's ship appeared on his sensors. It was small, barely frigate-sized. No visible weapons. "No armor plating." It looked more like a civilian transport than a warship. Zelith wanted to weep. The humans had sent 1 bodyguard to protect an entire alliance. It would have been insulting if it wasn't so tragic. The Seraph fleet commander broadcast across all channels. His voice was mechanical, emotionless. "Alliance forces, You have one option. Surrender immediately. Comply or be destroyed. You have 5 minutes. Zalith looked at his tactical officer. Recommendations? We fight, sir. We die standing. The crew nodded. They'd prepared for this. Every ship in the fleet carried escape pods, evacuation plans. They'd save who they could, but most would die here, buying time for civilian evacuations in the inner systems. Claire's voice cut through the tension. Commander, patch me through to the Zareth flagship. Lieutenant, they won't negotiate. I'm not negotiating. Against his better judgment, Zalith opened the channel. Claire's image appeared on every screen in both fleets. She looked directly at the Zareth commander. I'm Lieutenant Claire Morgan, human military. You've got 30 seconds to reverse course and leave this system. The Zareth commander's mechanical laughter filled the channel. One human, one insignificant vessel. You threaten us? I'm giving you a chance. Take it! Humans are weak. Your species hides behind others, playing diplomat. We have studied you. Your ships are few. Your warriors, untested. You have nothing that concerns the Dominion. Claire's expression didn't change. 20 seconds. We will crush your pathetic vessel first. Watch, Alliance dogs. See how easily human flesh burns. The Zareth flagship fired. A particle beam, powerful enough to vaporize a city, lanced across space toward Claire's ship. Zalith closed his eyes. He'd hoped for a miracle, but physics didn't care about hope. The beam struck Claire's ship dead center. The view screen flared white. When the glare faded, Zalith expected to see debris. Instead, Claire's ship hung in space, completely undamaged. A shimmering field surrounded it, dissipating the beam's energy into harmless radiation. 10 seconds, Claire said. The Zareth commander's mechanical voice held a new note. Confusion. Impossible. That was a full power strike. Your ship should not exist. 5 seconds. All ships, destroy that vessel. Fire everything. 2,000 warships opened fire simultaneously. Missiles, beams, projectiles, exotic weapons Zalith didn't recognize. The combined firepower could have cracked a planet. All of it converged on one small human ship. Claire's vessel vanished. Not destroyed. It simply wasn't there anymore. Zalith's sensors showed nothing. The weapons passed harmlessly through empty space, detonating against each other in a chaotic fireball. Time's up, Claire's voice said. She reappeared behind the Zareth fleet. Her ship hadn't moved. It had teleported. Zalith had heard rumors of human quantum drives, but seeing it was different. The Zareth fleet scrambled to reorient, but they were too slow. Claire's ship pulsed once. A wave of energy expanded outward, passing through every Zareth vessel. Zalith expected explosions, destruction, death. Instead, the enemy ships simply stopped. Their engines died. Weapons powered down. Life support failed. Every system went dark simultaneously. The Zareth fleet drifted, lifeless. 2,000 warships reduced to floating coffins in less than 3 seconds. Zealot's bridge was silent. His tactical officer finally spoke. What did she do? Electromagnetic pulse, Claire explained. Tuned specifically to Zareth technology. Fries their systems but leaves organic life intact. They'll suffocate in about 40 minutes. Long enough to evacuate if they're smart. You killed them all, Zalith whispered. No, I disabled them. What happens next is their choice. They can use emergency systems to call for rescue, or they can choose to die with their pride. I don't care which. The Zareth commander's emergency channel crackled to life. His mechanical voice was gone, replaced by the organic sound of a dying creature gasping for air. What are you? Claire's response was flat. I'm the bodyguard. I protect what's mine. You threatened my clients. That was a mistake. One ship, one human. This is impossible. Your sensors are still working. Scan my vessel. Really look at it. Zalith did. His officer's face went pale. Commander, that's not a ship. That's a weapon. The entire hull is a weapon. I'm reading energy signatures that shouldn't exist. Antimatter containment. Quantum processors. Something that might be a black hole generator. And power output. By the ancestors, the power output is reading as infinite. Claire spoke to the Sarith commander. My species spent 10,000 years killing each other. We got very good at it. Then we decided to stop. But we didn't forget how. We built ships like this one. Not many. Just enough. They exist for one purpose. To make sure that when humans say something is protected, it stays protected. You could have used this during your wars. You could have conquered the galaxy. We could have. We chose not to. Because conquest is easy. Peace is hard. We prefer hard. The Sarith commander's breathing became labored. I understand. We will withdraw. If you allow us to live. Emergency beacon is already active. Your rescue fleet will arrive in 6 hours. Don't come back. The channel closed. Claire's ship hung in space, tiny and terrible. Zalith realized his hands were shaking. Lieutenant. That display. That power. Why didn't you show us this before? During our war. Because you didn't need to see it. You needed to want peace. If I'd shown you this, you would have wanted human protection. That's dependence, not peace. Now you know what we can do. But you also know we'll only do it when absolutely necessary. The other species, when they learn of this, they will. And they'll have a choice. See humans as protectors or as threats. The smart ones will realize we're only as dangerous as they make us. We don't want to rule. We just want everyone to have a chance to talk things out. Claire's ship began to move. I'm heading back to human space. The Sarith won't bother you again. Neither will anyone else who heard about today. But Commander, do me a favor. Anything, Lieutenant! Keep working on the peace. We can't protect everyone all the time. The galaxy needs to learn to protect itself. We're just here to make sure everyone gets that chance. Her ship accelerated to faster-than-light speeds, vanishing in a flash of twisted space. Zalith stood alone on his bridge, surrounded by his shocked crew. The Sarith fleet drifted in front of them, disabled but intact. A demonstration of mercy wrapped in overwhelming force. His communication officer spoke quietly. Sir, we're receiving messages from 17 different species. They all want to know the same thing. Are the humans friends or enemies? Zalith thought about Claire, about how she'd saved Ambassador Torvak, about how she'd stopped 2 fleets from destroying each other, about how she'd just neutralized the greatest threat the Alliance had ever faced. All without killing anyone unless they absolutely refused to back down. Tell them, Zalith said, that humans are the friends you never want to make into enemies. The message spread across the galaxy within days. Species that had been considering aggression reconsidered. Pirates raided less frequently near human-protected space. Warlords found diplomacy more attractive than conquest. The mere knowledge that humans could intervene and what that intervention looked like changed countless calculations. Peace, it turned out, was easier when everyone knew the cost of breaking it. 5 years later, Zalith attended another peace conference, this time between the Draxan clans and the Helios Federation. The war had lasted 2 generations, billions dead. Planets burned. It was the kind of conflict that seemed impossible to end. He wasn't surprised when he saw Claire standing behind the Draxan clan leader. She looked the same. Humans aged slowly, he'd learned. Or maybe she just looked that way to everyone. That calm, neutral expression that gave nothing away. The negotiations were brutal. Both sides hated each other. Every discussion devolved into shouting matches. Accusations flew. Several times, delegates stormed out, threatening to resume hostilities. The human mediators worked tirelessly, but even their patience had limits. On the 5th day, a Helios admiral brought a weapon into the conference chamber. Security had missed it somehow, or maybe he'd assembled it from common items. It didn't matter. He had it, and he pointed it at the Daxon clan leader. "My family died on Helios Prime," the admiral said. "Your people burned them alive. I will have justice." The room erupted into chaos. Guards rushed forward. The admiral's finger tightened on the trigger. The Daxon leader closed his eyes, accepting death. Claire moved. One moment she was standing 5 meters away. The next, she was between the admiral and his target. Zelith didn't see her cross the distance. She simply appeared there, as if the space between points was optional. The admiral fired. The weapon discharged directly into Claire's torso at point-blank range. The impact should have torn her in half. Instead, she caught the energy bolt in her hand, literally caught it. The crackling sphere of destructive force hovered in her palm, contained by nothing visible. "No," Claire said simply. She closed her hand. The energy bolt vanished, dispersed into nothing. The admiral stared at his weapon, then at her. His face cycled through shock, confusion, fear. Claire took the weapon from his trembling hands. "I understand your pain. Loss is terrible, but murder won't bring them back. It'll just create more loss, more pain, more people like you. They killed my family," the admiral whispered. "They did, and the Daxon clan leader sitting behind me lost his family to Helios weapons, and his father lost his family, and his father before that. This war has been killing families for 60 years. When does it stop? When they pay for what they've done. And when you make them pay, they'll want you to pay. And back and forth forever. Is that what you want for your children? More war?" The admiral's hands dropped to his sides. "I don't have children. The war took everything." Claire's expression softened slightly. "Then don't take everything from someone else. Be the one who breaks the cycle." The admiral collapsed, sobbing. Security took him gently, leading him away. The room remained silent. The Daxon clan leader stood slowly, his ceremonial armor clinking. "She is right," he said. His voice was old, tired. "I have ordered deaths. Many deaths. I told myself it was necessary, that it was justice. But it was just revenge, and revenge has no end." The Helios delegate, a elderly female with scars crossing her face, nodded. "We have all lost too much. Perhaps it is time to lose something else. Our hate." The treaty was signed that evening. Both sides agreed to reparations, to joint memorials, to educational exchanges. It wasn't perfect. Decades of hate couldn't be erased with signatures. But it was a start. Zelith approached Claire as the delegates departed. "You've been doing this for years now. Traveling to war zones, protecting diplomats, stopping conflicts. Why?" Claire looked at him with those steady predator eyes. "Because someone has to." "But why humans? Why you specifically?" "Because we remember. Every war we fought, every mistake we made, every person who died because we couldn't find a better way. We carry that weight." "And we decided that if we had to carry it, we'd make sure no one else had to learn those lessons the hard way. It's a heavy burden." "Yes, but it's ours to carry." Zelith watched her leave, thinking about the wars he'd fought, the people he'd killed, the friends he'd lost. All of it seemed pointless now. All of it could have been avoided if someone had just stepped in and said no. The humans had said no. And the galaxy was better for it. 10 years after the first incident, Zelith was old. His scales had faded to gray. His movements were slow. He'd retired from military service, spending his days teaching young officers about strategy and diplomacy, about the importance of exhausting every option before resorting to violence. He received a message from Claire. She wanted to meet. He agreed immediately. They met on a neutral station in a quiet garden dome that simulated a Vraxian forest. Claire looked the same as always. Zelith felt ancient next to her. "You're still doing it," he said. "Still protecting diplomats." Always. Do you ever rest? Sometimes. When I'm needed elsewhere, less than I'm needed here. Zelith settled onto a bench. I've been thinking about that first day, when you saved Ambassador Torvak. You said you saw the missile launch from an asteroid field. Our sensors couldn't detect it. How? Claire sat next to him. Human eyes evolved for persistence hunting. We tracked prey across vast distances, noticed tiny details, changes in patterns. We brought those eyes to space. Our sensors are good, but sometimes instinct is better. And the fighting. The way you stopped both fleets. The way you disabled the Zareth. You're not just a bodyguard, are you? No. What are you? Claire was quiet for a long moment. I'm a survivor of Earth's last war. I was a soldier when humans finally pushed ourselves to the brink. We almost destroyed our own world. Almost killed ourselves off. In those final days, some of us saw what we were becoming. We stopped it. Barely. And we swore we'd never let it happen to anyone else. So you're atoning. Maybe. Or maybe we just learned the lesson and want to make sure it wasn't in vain. Zelith looked at the simulated sky. How many of you are there? People like you? Enough! Scattered across the galaxy. Wherever we're needed. You've probably never noticed most of us. We prefer it that way. The best protection is the kind people don't know is happening. And if someone pushes too hard, refuses to listen, then they learn why humans survived 10,000 years of warfare. Not because we were peaceful, but because we became so good at violence that we scared ourselves into choosing peace. Zelith nodded slowly. The galaxy is fortunate you made that choice. The galaxy is fortunate we're all still learning to make it every day. Peace isn't permanent. It's a choice we make again and again. They sat in comfortable silence, two old warriors who'd seen too much war. Eventually, Claire stood. I need to go. There's a situation developing in the Outer Rim. A trade dispute that's getting heated. Another war to prevent? If I'm lucky, it'll just be a conversation. Those are the best ones. Zelith watched her leave, grateful for humans. Grateful for Claire. Grateful that in a galaxy full of violence, there were people who dedicated their lives to preventing it. Years passed. Wars still happened, but fewer than before. Species learned to call for human mediators when tensions rose. The presence of a human bodyguard became a symbol of serious peace talks. No one wanted to be the species that forced humans to demonstrate their capabilities. Zelith eventually died peacefully, surrounded by family. His last thoughts were of Claire, wondering if she was still out there, still protecting, still preventing. She was. And she would be for a long time to come, because that was what humans did. They protected. They prevented. They stood between violence and its victims. Not because they were asked, but because they'd learned what happened when no one did. The galaxy was safer for it. Not perfect. Never perfect. But safer, and that was enough. Somewhere in human space, in a facility that officially didn't exist, other humans like Claire trained. They learned languages, studied alien psychology, practiced combat techniques that would never be used if everything went right. They prepared to be bodyguards, mediators, the last line of defense against species destroying themselves. They called themselves the Diplomatic Corps. The name was intentionally boring. Nothing that would draw attention. Nothing that would make them seem more than they were. Just humans, doing a job. But the galaxy knew better. And the galaxy was grateful. Because when a diplomat arrived with a human bodyguard, wars ended. Sometimes in 3 minutes. Sometimes in 3 words. Sometimes, just by the bodyguard being there, a silent reminder of what could happen if talking failed. Humans had learned to be terrifying in their gentleness. Overwhelming in their restraint. Deadly in their mercy. It was a contradiction that shouldn't work, but it did. And the galaxy slept better knowing humans stood watch.